Now, who doesn't love melted cheese? But when you place it in the middle of this mashed potato and deep fry it may not be healthy, but it tastes absolutely delicious. Now we're going to start this off by simply making our mashed potatoes. So I've got a pot on the stove here on a running boil, and I've got 3 potatoes that I've just cut in half. So I'm just going to carefully place them into our boiling water. And we're going to boil these away for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now the reason why it's hard to judge is because it really does depend on the potato itself and how big and small they are. Basically, when you can put a fork straight through and it goes through very easily, they're done, so take them off and let them cool down completely. Okay, so I have our mashed potatoes here, which I've cooled down in the fridge for about an hour. So this part's pretty simple. We're just going to season it just with a little bit of salt and some pepper. And just to begin there, just mash them all up till the potatoes are mashed and combined with that salt and pepper. Now next I've got a slab of cheese. Now honestly, just use whatever cheese you prefer. There's so many different types. You can even have a quick melt type version. But it just comes down to your favorite cheese. So I'll leave that completely up to you. So we're just going to simply cut it into bite-sized pieces. So next we're going to grab one of our cubes and some of our mashed potato, and we're just going to cover the cube in our mashed potato mix and just roll it into a ball, just like that, and just do the same with the remaining cubes. Okay, so I've got a simple breading station set up here. I've got some flour, I've got a couple of beaten eggs and some breadcrumbs. So grabbing one of our mashed potato balls, we're going to cover it in some flour, then dip it in the eggs, and finally cover it in our breadcrumbs. And it's as simple as that. Now once you've made up your mashed potato balls, we're going to place these into the freezer for about an hour just to give it a chance to set. Otherwise, if you put them straight into the deep fryer, they're just going to fall apart. So by putting them in the freezer, it just helps maintain that roundish shape. Okay, so now it's time to deep fry our potato balls. Now you can do this on the stove with a pot if you're confident using hot oil in a pot. Perfectly fine, but I'm going to use my trusty deep fryer. Simply because they're cheap and it maintains the perfect temperature that you're after. So even if it cools down, it can simply heat it up back up to the right temperature so it always maintains that perfect fry. So for this, I'm aiming for the 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. So we're just going to, just a couple at a time, place our potato balls into our fryer, and we're going to fry them away for about 5-6 minutes, just until they start to turn brown on the outside. And you sort of get that melty cheese in the middle. Too long, you're going to burn the outside. Not long enough, and the inside stays frozen. So just until they're nice and golden brown on the outside, and they should be ready. And look at those. Been about 5.5 minutes I think it was, and they're nice and golden brown. So just continue on until you've done all your potato balls. So let's cut one of these open. Oh, look at that gooey cheese on the inside. Now there really is something about melted cheese that really does make it taste so much better. And we all know it tastes the same, but when it's melted, in our minds, it really does just honestly taste better. There's no denying it. Now doesn't that melted cheese look delicious? As I said, cheese already tastes fantastic, but for some reason, it just tastes better when it's melted. And again, it probably doesn't, but I'm sure it's all in our head, but let's be honest, why fight it? Because it really does feel and taste a lot better. So this is definitely a treat you'll only have once in a while, but it is worth it. Now if you love cheese, then I guarantee these deep fried mashed potato cheese bites are going to taste simply delish.